The following interview was sponsored by the Greek American Heritage Society of Philadelphia, preserving and perpetuating our community's history.
Well, tell us about Greek music here in Philadelphia, or actually the radio business, how it started and how you were involved with it.
Well, the people that started it was Nick Parras, and he had his brother, Bill Parras, to be the announcer, which we have some pictures of. And they started it very slowly. What they would do, the people who were having affairs, weddings, baptisms, they would get all that information and what was going on in the Greek community at that time, at church or whatever it was, and they would announce it every Sunday. And it used to be only a half an hour. As the business grew and they had this electrical business in the store, they were able to get more information till they grew up into an hour's worth of broadcasting. And in the meantime, they would put on Greek music if the people had a wedding and they wanted to congratulate their children. They would put a record. Then you had music in between all the announcements. So it took quite a bit of work, and it took a lot of time to assemble this all week until you gathered all the information and wrote it down, and then you had to assemble it between Friday and Saturday, run a test program on it, how it worked in with the records, if it worked within the hours, so they could go next day to the WTEL radio station out at Broad Street, North Broad Street, which was the only foreign language program that had other languages on their radio stations.
What year was that, or approximate?
39, 40, 41.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, right in there.
So how did you get involved with this family, or how did you get the list?
I lived across the street, and I would always go in there because they liked me and all that, and I had we had problems with my mom and all that. She wasn't well, and they sort of took me under their wing. So as I got older and I went into high school, I wanted to get a part-time job. So they took me on, and I used to wait on all the customers, and probably a lot of the customers might remember me. And I would sell the records and the stuff and all that and get information. And that's the way I got involved with them. And finally ended up marrying the brother.
We're speaking with Mary Parras, a longtime member of the Greek American community who grew up in Old City, Philadelphia, a resident of on Locust Street, a longtime member of the St. Demetrius community in Upper Darby now. And, well, Mary, give us a little more background about your history and your family tree.
My parents were from Macedonia, which was called Monastiri, and then it was called Bitola, and it became part of Yugoslavia next to Bulgaria. And my parents spoke their dialect, which they never taught to me. They only spoke Greek to me. So I could catch the gist of their conversations, and when we went out visiting the other patrioti and see what they were talking about, it seems like they were always talking about our situation and all. So this is the way it was at that time. And I grew up on Locust Street, which was called Greektown. There was 2 barber shops. There was lots of a very nice restaurant, the Acropolis, that people might remember, and coffee houses, plenty of those. And then the one coffee house, Mr. Tranis used to go hunting every winter, every October, and he would come back and bring 2 big deers, which he hung outside his door. And these are the memories that I have. And there was 2 Zachroplastia and 2 grocery stores and 2 beer saloons.
So all that was centered right around the 8th Street, Old City area?
From 8th Street to 11th Street.
From 8th Street to 11th Street. And that was part of the St. George community? And
well, I would say, yeah, I would say. But a lot of people also went to Evangelismos, which was at 12th and Catherine Street. So after the community started to spread out, just like us, our children have gone further out, they also went to West Philadelphia and bought homes, or a little bit to Upper Darby. There wasn't that many at that time, but it was mostly in West Philadelphia and North Philadelphia. That's why the churches have also gone out that way too. Now, Evangelismos was the only one at 12th and Catherine, but then when they moved out north, they established another Evangelismos out there in Elkins Park. So they were all like one community, but after a few years, things didn't work out that well, so they had to separate their books, let's put it that way, and they moved You know, they became Evangelismos in Elkins Park and Evangelismos downtown.
Let's talk about your life around that community at St. George. What was life like there? I mean, you've showed me a few pictures, these gigantic classes that were all gigantic portraits of students outside of the church.
St. George.
Yeah, what was that community like? And where were all the Greeks coming from that were part of that community? Do you know? Or
I never asked people where they came from. You know, they were just Greeks, and that was it. I would say the biggest ones were the Chotes. Yeah, they were a big, big group, and they were for years and years, and they've all petered off. The children and the grandchildren did not continue it. But that, and it could have been the Kefalonites, I sort of remember that. And this was just...
is there a special memory or something really special about that community that you remember, that you think, wow, I wish we still had that today?
Well, I still wish that the young people kept up where their grandparents and great-grandparents came from, because it's really, really nice. The Kefalonites do it now when they have their the Lenten dinner. They have the Skordalya just before Lent, and they always they continue that, which is very, very nice. And the others are that we all liked each other, and we were just, you know, nice people. Well, and there was a lot of children that lived on Locust Street that I grew up with, but as the families moved out, I was the only one left there. But it was a very pleasant place to be.
Tell us about coming out to Upper Darby and into the western suburbs. What was that like for you moving out here?
I wanted to move out further too, but my husband said, no, I have to be centered, because if I have to wake up in the middle of the night to go to an electrical job, I want to be more centered. So he felt that Upper Darby 69th Street was the right place to be, and there was everybody there was Greek, especially on our street on Wellington Road, and all the other little streets was all full of people who were Greek. And we got along with everybody. Just some of the people would tell me when I spoke Greek to the children, you're in America and you shouldn't speak Greek and all. I said, well, they have to learn their mother language first, and then they're going to they speak English. I said, they speak English very well. But that's the way it was in those times. And today, a lot of people tell me we're older, I wish our parents still taught us to speak Italian or Jewish or whatever it was. Yeah, it was very nice. It
sounds like you really held it dear to you to be able to speak Greek.
Oh, absolutely, and I still do. And my great-grandchildren now tell me, yeah, speak that, whatever you talk. And I tell them, you know, I do speak it to them a little bit.
Are there other traditions that are Greek that you stand by and continue to observe in your day-to-day life?
The spiritual part of it has gotten away from us, which I don't like either. But I can't do anything about that. We try to keep it up. The children all do still like Easter and the festivities that we have with that, and they're coming to our festivals, with which they enjoy a lot. And the whole community really centers around going to these festivals. And the Macedonians do keep up their traditions and their dances, and in another week or so, we'll be having our Macedonian affair up at St. George Media.
Who were some of the people that you think are worth mentioning that influenced you in the community? Are there key people that really...
The only key people I would say was the late Miss Anastasia Kletches. She kept that Sunday school. We learned so much at that period of time, and our hymns and our traditions and all, that she was a big influence. Even till today, I talk to her niece, Veronica, how much I appreciated and how much she did for all of us, which is true. And she was very influential in starting the Sunday school. At that period of time, the Archbishop was Athinagoras, who later became Patriarch, and the two of them really built a very good Sunday school in Philadelphia, and in all the surrounding communities, which we still have very big Sunday schools. But as the children move and all that, some churches, the Sunday schools fall off, some don't.
What I wanted to hear a little bit more about was the social atmosphere in the Old City Greek community. And you called it Greektown. Did people really officially recognize it as Greektown? Because that's a term we don't hear anymore in Philadelphia.
No, it was Greektown, because we still say it. You know, where'd you grow up? In Greektown. Yeah.
So your generation says you grew up in Greektown.
Yeah.
See, that's something we've lost over the course of the years.
And my age group say they used to come with their yayas and papudas to the store to buy their records and with different things. And they bring things from Greece, and they would buy those. So we always have the memory of Greece. It was always, you had to think of where they all came from.
So why did we all leave? What happened?
Because you all came to make money.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And especially the last, they're not going to like this, the last few that came, it's been really bad. So, yeah. But we know the most of us that were, say, poor, didn't know it until now. Because we had good family life. We went visiting name days and things like that, and it was always you had the other people to talk to and the young people and all. It was a different life. Now for me it was a little bit different because I was an only child, so I had to assume a lot of things myself. Yeah.
Would you say that the social affairs were better, or were they different? Like the dances?
Well, no, I would say they're almost the same, except that we all wanted to get dressed up. Mm-hmm. Everybody was very, very well dressed, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the HEPA fairs, you always had to wear a gown or something like that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. It was very nice. Of course, when you got older, you did all this stuff. That happened, and there was the Daughters of Penelope and the Maids of Athena and the Sons of Pericles were very, very strong, and that's why some of these people, some people still hold that. Sons of Pericles and the Maids of Athena have fallen off, but the Sons of Pericles are still strong, and the Daughters of Penelope. Now, my chapter, we're all aged, so it's very hard, though, to get women to come back into it. But it's a very strong organization that we still keep going.
Tell us a little bit about, what's the name of the chapter? Is that
Pandora Chapter.
Pandora Chapter.
And we do meet at St. Demetrius Church once a month and keep it going.
How long has that chapter been around?
I would say 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've been at St. Demetrius for how long?
60-some years. Because I would have been married 60 years. About 62 years.
So that's where you spent the bulk of your, your
exactly.
time. Yeah.
The formative years were at St. George, that's for sure.
So that's where you...
The Greek school, everything. And the Greek school then didn't have heating. We used to have the sorbas that you call them, and they would just heat every room. And we sat there, though, and we learned our Greek.
When did you move out to Upper Darby then? What year was that? Do you remember?
54.
Oh, well, you saw St. Demetrius was still on Larchwood Avenue back then, I think, yeah.
Larchwood Avenue, we saw it grow on Power Lane. I forgot about that. And yeah.
Do you remember those first few years or those first few church services when they moved?
We met at a church on 60th and Vine, I think it is. I think they've since knocked it down. And we would go early in the morning because then the other people had to come in. It was Presbyterian or Baptist. They would come in after we left until our church got built.
Well, tell us about St. Demetrius for you. What was that
And
experience?
we used to have St. Demetrius. Another fundraiser was we had the festivals, but we only did it in the small hall that we call it now. And I used to dress up as Mary Poppins, which was a very famous movie at that period of time, and fill my pockets with little things. And the children would come up to me for 25 cents, empty out my pockets. He was a girl or a boy. It was a lot of fun working with them. And one time we even had someone bring a donkey. And of course my husband started the first taverna.
Okay.
Yeah, that was done. First taverna was supposed to start in 79, well, in 80, but Bill died in 79. So they skipped a year, and we started it back in 1981. And this people brought a donkey in, made it very, very Greek and all. And it was really, really nice. I don't know if you remember that.
I'm trying to remember that one. That's a little... What's your favorite part about being a member at St. Demetrius?
We all get along so well, yeah. And we always overlook other people's problems or whatever they feel we're not doing it right. You just overlook and just go with the flow.
Well, since I know that growing up in Upper Darby, I know that history because I was there since '65, and I felt like I was in Greektown.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was the new Greektown that was from, I'd say, the late '60s through the middle '80s. Let's say that was when it was a real Greektown for me. What is the difference between the Greektown around Upper Darby and the historic Old City Greektown. Is there a difference between those two communities?
No, because they would start, we were starting to plant our gardens, or vegetable gardens, and then it was in the Upper Darby News, Delaware County News, that all these people are putting their vegetables in their gardens and they shouldn't do that. It was really funny, yeah. And we figured, my God, it's only tomatoes, or they put them in the front lawns if they only had a little piece of ground in the front and all that. And
I remember barbecuing on Easter. You could just watch all the row homes.
That's right.
Everybody had a lamb out in front of their house.
Right.
And the American community just looked at us puzzled. They couldn't believe it.
Well, they always thought foreigners were different. And that's it. I figured that's okay. But now we do it, too, to the new ones that came.
Well, now I think they admire it because it's, keeping with tradition. Is there a, do we have a Greektown today? Do we have that? Or is it gone?
No, it's gone.
Would you like to see that come back someday? Is that something we, or do you think?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should. And
put
especially the young children that are all over the place now, they should have a place that they can go and get all this stuff, which they do anyhow. With their cars, they can do anything they want. They even go to New York to buy all their stuff.
Well, yeah, a lot of people go up to New York to Astoria, or they order it online nowadays too.
That's true.
Is there a lesson here? Is there a lesson for the next generation?
The children have to keep up their traditions, no matter how funny they think we are or whatever. Even as goofy as some of the things are, they should keep it up. That's what makes us a people, a ethnic group, and that's what we are. When you live in America, that's fine. So you keep up your Greek with your laws of America, that's all, which were also started from the Greeks, which they don't keep up.
Mary Parras, thank you for speaking with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed it. It was nice. I felt good about talking of where I grew up. And all the people that lived in Upper Darby now live across the street from me, and their big houses across the street.